we've got just network a little bit. Antonio, what would you say brings you in here? I'd love to hear it.
Um, my lack of discipline for reading.
Mhm.
I think I read 2 books this year, but I just want to read more.
Yeah. Awesome. What kind of books?
Mostly nonfiction, like self-help, um, a little bit about health,
Hmm.
stuff like that, biographies.
Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. Let's see. Who do we have in here? Khalid, good to see you.
Good to see
Gabe,
you. Hello.
in. Welcome in. But let's do some intros here. Khalid, do you want to intro? Tell us your name, industry, and one book that changed your life. We'd love to hear it, man.
Yeah, first of all, my name is Khalid bin Hilal. I'm from Saudi, and we like to read a lot of books.
Awesome. Do you have one book that you could think of?
Maybe 48 powers.
What do you lost?
Oh.
Awesome. Awesome. How about you, Antonio? Ooh, let me fix that. Uh-oh.
Mm, so I'm in North Carolina or United States, North Carolina. A book that changed my life. I can't say a book unless we can name the Bible would be one, but other than that, I don't think there's a book that has changed my life.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No worries. One good book too. Gabriel, are you there? Are you there with us? Or Ramon?
Yeah, I guess.
Awesome. Would you mind sharing your name, what industry you're in, and what book that changed your life?
My name is Gabriel Madi, from Nigeria. But a book that changed my life, let's say domain-driven design. I'm into tech, so yeah.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. How about you, Ramon? Are you able to share name, industry, and one book that changed your life before we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing? My name is Ramon. I live in Bakersfield, California. My two favorite books are The Five Languages of Love and The 48 Laws of Power. It's things that really stuck to me. And I work in healthcare. I work with doctors and nurses, and I work with seniors. So, I came today because, at 47, for some reason, I want new information and new knowledge every single day. So I want to be able to read fast but also absorb more information at a higher speed. That way I can get more out of it. So that's why I joined today, because I'm fascinated by information more than anything right now.
You and I both. I think we get along well, Ramon. Awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank
So,
you.
so what's awesome, I mean, if no more people join, I'm totally fine with that because then I just get to serve you guys, give you guys the best service that I can. That's my job. So, that was a little bit about you guys. I'll share a short intro about me. Did anyone get a chance to watch the video that I shared before about the science of reading, science of speed reading? Anybody? I think Antonio saw it.
I
When
did.
you click on it, or I didn't see it work. I tried to click on it and put it in a URL, and it didn't work for me. So I'll stop interrupting. But I didn't.
No,
I
you're
wasn't
not.
able to
That's
watch
fine.
it.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's you later. But essentially, what that video shows is that you can reach certain reading speeds that are double or triple most people, and they're backed by conclusive research. Okay, it's not some woo-woo science. It's out there, and people have been researching and exploring this since the 1920s. So a little bit about the history of speed reading is actually founded during one of our wars. I think it was World War I. And this guy was like, okay, if we could learn faster than the enemy, we win. Information wins. So he was actually training people. His name was Samuel Renshaw. He was training people on how to learn how to read faster. What do you know? But then someone noticed that his stuff was working very, very well and said, stop, we got a bigger problem. Too many people are dying. This is what I need you to do instead. Train pilots to be able to spot the enemy faster. And he did, because pilots back then were accidentally killing their own teammates because they would do it too slowly. So it turns out speed reading knowledge and vision knowledge helped save thousands of lives, and now he's over in the database somewhere because his knowledge of speed reading saved lives. So I'm not saying you're saving pilots' lives with what you've got, but certainly life-changing information. So a little bit about me, guys, is, if you might already know my story, but I'll share a little bit of it. Honestly, 2.5 years ago, I didn't think I'd be doing this. Speed reading and memory coach just really happened by accident. And everything significant, I say, always comes from some journey of pain, right? My journey of pain looked like I was that kid who flunked in 5th grade, could not learn as fast as people, didn't like school. Fast forward, it happens again. I can't get my job that I want. I spend a whole 1.5 years trying to get this job. All my friends get the job. I just think I'm some dumbass at my parents' house. And then they're yelling at me. So I go live out of my car for a week, for like over a week. That sucked, by the way. But really, when I was at my rock bottom, I read 2 books that changed my life, and then a handful that get me the job that I want, but with double the salary. So now I'm ahead of my friends by 3 years. So then I just told myself, you know what? I'm not going to let the lack of knowledge ever screw me over again, because I was motivated. I worked hard. Didn't matter. Lack of knowledge held me back, right? It even killed one of my businesses that I had back then. So I share this because I don't know where you guys are at, but if you have big dreams with, I don't know, anything, more knowledge doesn't hurt. And so I ended up reading 70 books in 1 year. So this is Jim Quick. Like, I got invited to his party like the day before, so then I just flew out to Florida. This is Dan Martell. Anyone know Dan Martell?
Yeah, very well. I love. So what I do is I create jobs every single day. I got that from that book. I didn't read the book, but I know that part right there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I create jobs. That's what I do, man. I create jobs, and then I fill slots with. I have an assistant because of him, because I wanted to buy back my time. So because of just like the couple clips that I got, man, like that changed my life right there, man. So yes, very well. He's a good guy.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, $100 million CEO, knows software very, very well. And he's read over 1,200, 1,400 books. So the big thing he shared with me was that it's not one book, it's getting in the rhythm of information consumption and the right way. So let's continue. So quickly, my top books. Just kidding. These are not my book recommendations. These books are all sold out anyway. Okay, I'm just messing with you. Here's just a handful, though. Okay, and we could talk more about book recommendations later. But the big thing I always like to share with people is the stuff that I'm teaching actually works. Real results, real people. And if I was in your shoes, I would want to see this as well, because you don't know how many speed reading courses or exercises I've tried just to get no results. Because the worst thing that happens is, like, you read a whole book, spend a couple hours or more, and then a couple months later you retain nothing and you're applying nothing. Okay, so this skill I've taught to, like, one guy, Savata, right there. His business, 50 million revenue, but he wants to read a book a week. So I don't know who your competition is or what your industry is in, but those people are out there. So if they're making that much money with that much success and they're still pushing their learning curve, I think you should too. That's just how I think, okay? Not many people think that well. So I'd love to see in the comments, what are some skills you see reading helping you accelerate? So you could type it or just unmute yourself and say it out loud so I know how to serve you. And we got a small group here, so like, feel free to unmute. It doesn't matter.
Well, for me, I mean, oh, go ahead. I'm already talking. The other guy, he can talk.
Can you just repeat the question, please?
The question was, what are a couple skills you see reading helping accelerate or improve? Because we'll have Q&A at the end, and we can talk book recommendations there after the training. So you could either say it or just comment it. Awesome. Okay, Rado's still thinking. Ramon, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm part of this new industry where it has to do with stem cell technology. And there's a clinical side, medical side that I really want to learn about. Like I have 25 years of sales experience, so I understand building businesses and things like that. But when it comes to the clinical side, learning about these skin grafts that I'm working, I want to know that stuff. Like I'm really big on learning. So if I can read about how these amniotic skin grafts work, how the layering of the skin graft, how the body works, like there's so much like a nurse or a doctor would know the clinical side. I want to know that stuff too. So if I'm having a battle just trying to figure this stuff out because I can't retain the information, I'm gonna like right now in my business, like it's so new, the market is so fresh that you just want to, when you meet someone, when you meet a doctor, you want to be the obvious choice.
Yep.
You know, you don't always want to have a close or closing the deal or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So I just
Yeah.
want to be the obvious choice. So I want to have, don't get me wrong, going out, you'll never have enough information. But when you do that, have that information with a skill set, you're going to destroy the market. That's what's going to happen.
It's so important. And I'll quickly share for you, Ramon. When I helped a friend while doing this business, basically closed the $180,000 deal that I found closed. But I had to quickly learn medical terminology. It was for custom sales and software. If you don't speak the doctor's language, they don't want to work with you. Okay, so the great thing about you doing this, reading more, expanding your vocabulary, you can connect with anybody and everybody. And it's fun too, because who you ever been in a conversation and is just diving deep into marketing or diving deep into sales and feel like you can't contribute? Well, if you read at least the top 5, top 10 of that industry, you can. It turns out you'll probably actually know more than them too. So those are great things. Let's continue. Thanks for sharing, Ramon. That's awesome. So here's our agenda for the short time that we have together. Okay, so on this call, first, we focus on reading comprehension in a way you are not used to. Second, I have 3 levels of training on speed reading for you. Okay, this call is interactive. I don't like lectures. This is not a lecture. This is put your brain to work with David and make you more money from this call. Okay. Third, how do we get you to retain this information so you can apply it in your lives and be able to hold a book and say, this book made me 10, 20, 30 grand. This book saved me 20 hours a week. So at the end of this call, like I said, we'll have a couple questions. So the big question we're answering today is, how do I read more in less time? And really, how do we read like these top CEOs? Alex Hormozy reading, buying 50 books a year. Tony Robbins, 700 books in 7 years. So first, I need to see it. Comment it or say it out loud. How long is your book list? Comment that in the chat. Just like a doctor, I need to see, what are we working with? If you feel like you don't have a list, that's totally fine. You could say that too. We can build you one. Samuel, welcome in. We're just talking about how long is your book list? Comment in the chat. No list, says Ramon. So maybe we build that, right? Anyone else? 20 to 30. Thanks. 50 on the list. God, that's not bad. I've talked to a guy who literally had 1,000 books in his house, and he had several 8-figure businesses. But yeah, that's an issue. Awesome. So here's the next problem. When was the last time you took a reading class? You're probably 6, 7 years old, right? And it might be fair to say that you're still reading like you did when you first learned it. So the tactics then were great for this amount of information you needed as a little kid, but now you need way more. Tactics haven't changed. I'm here to improve that. So you're just less stressed, right? It keeps us up at night that we can't keep up. So in order to boost your reading speed, let's get started with just a baseline test. How do we know if you improved if we don't even know what you started with? Okay, so I'm going to share the link. I will time you. And once you get past a certain threshold, I'll say stop, because by then you're taking too long. Okay, but don't beat yourself up. So right here, go ahead and click this link and just give me a thumbs up when you have the link open and you're ready to go, and I will tell you when to start. All right, here we go. We're starting in 3. Click that link in the comment section. 3, 2, and just read at your normal rate. Once again, just read like you normally read for full comprehension. If because we're doing the training after this to improve it. We need your normal reading speed, just like you pick up a book. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and begin. All right, that's time. So if you didn't finish yet, that's fine. So that was 3 minutes. If you look at the center, 333 words per minute. Okay. Most Americans are around 238 words per minute, but really, they're much slower than that. Okay. Because at 238, you could finish books fast, but most Americans, who knows how many books most people finish a year? It's like 0 to 2. 0 to 2. Okay. Just fine. I've helped people go from 0 to 2 a year to 40 to 60 in 1 year. It's a big jump you could do. So right here, 3 minutes are trying to push you and get you higher now. All right. So now we know your baseline. Does everyone kind of get their baseline? Roughly. So to start. Awesome. So, oh, you guys shouldn't have seen that part. Hopefully you didn't see it. That same text over audio or a spoken conversation would have taken how long? What was your initial guess? That was 1,000 words. How long would it take over audiobook? Do you think it'd be faster with an audiobook? Antonio thinks it'd be slower with an audiobook. Gotcha, he's right. So that would take 7 minutes over an audiobook. So just expand that over your life for the next 10 years. That's almost 7x more information, but the same amount of time. And a college professor could read that in 1.8 minutes. So how to read a book a week? Simply put, just 38 minutes a day for the skilled reader. Around 266 pages is most business books. Most of you, I'm guessing, you're trying to improve your lives. We're not reading romance novels here. Okay. And now it's just, how do I become a skilled reader, David? With training. All right. So a favorite quote of mine by Tony Robbins, known speed reader who coaches billionaires, says this quote: success is actually 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. And speed reading follows the same rules of success here. Okay. And so on this call, you'll see me focus on how to speed read, the tactics, the 20%, but more importantly, why you must improve your reading habit in the next 12 months. All right. And that why gives you the energy to do the how. Wouldn't you agree? So some people might just tell me, David, this should just be 100% tactics on this call. Tactics alone fail. Raise your hand if you struggle with reading motivation. You try to force yourself to read, it doesn't work. Anybody? Just me? I'm alone? Okay, most of us. So perfect. There are not many solutions for reading motivation, but I can say I think I've figured something out for you. So in order for us to go high, we need to go deep. Deep into your why with this quick comprehension exercise. Because science actually has proven, and I'm quoting specific scientific research here, that those who are more motivated to read more, read better, and have better comprehension and memory. All right, so if you struggle with reading motivation, I call it a brain disease, but don't worry, doctor is here. Okay, so here's a short exercise. And we will use the 6 human needs that drive human behavior, that control what motivates you. And when I tell you the 6, I want you to tell me which one drives you most here. So every time I say a human need and explain it, you just need to type out how that connects. So number 1 is certainty. Do you want consistency in your life? Consistent girlfriend, consistent wife, consistent income. 2, uncertainty, variety. Life is boring. You need another business. You need more challenges. 3, significance. You want to communicate more. You want to communicate better. You want to get in front of people. You feel like your voice should be heard. Your brand should be known. 4, love and connection. You want to connect with more people. 5, contribution. You want to give to your community. 6, growth. You want to reach your highest potential. So out of those 6, comment which one drives you most. Which one is the one that drives you to read? Or maybe it's a couple. You can either unmute or just comment it.
I don't see nothing on the screen, just to let you know.
Oh, I know. That's why I just pure
Okay.
focus here. We'll have
Okay.
there's plenty of visuals, but it's certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection, contribution, and growth.
Love and connection.
Gotcha. Perfect. Antonio says growth. Khalid, how about you? Same. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Thanks for sharing. So, who's said this before? Not just me, hopefully. It is part of the psychology as well. So, my challenge to you, stop saying this. Say something else, because I can find your time to read right now. Just pull up your screen time on your phone. Boom. I solved your problem. So, time isn't the problem, because CEOs with multiple businesses with less time read more than you, right? They just ask better questions. How can I read more in less time? All right. So here's some like big reasons. It's just books aren't a source of dopamine for you. What are your sources of dopamine? I don't have time to explore that with you. That's a big problem. But just know that. Or you may not see, you feel like you lose money when you read. What if the next book made you 10 grand? Maybe you'd be excited to read it. So before we really get started, all I say is as much as you can for the rest of the call, just be fully present. You don't need to check your phone. Actually strain your brain. Just because multitasking, 2009 Stanford study, doesn't work. Okay? And how many books you guys want to read in the next 12 months? I don't even know that. I need to know. So if you can comment that or say it out loud before I move on, that'd be great.
About 6.
6. Otto says 6.
One the fun.
1 a month.
I like that.
How about you, Ramon?
I like that. I like 1 a month. That sounds like really achievable for not. I listen to audio, so to read 1 a month sounds doable.
For me, 1 a week.
1 a week. Great goal. Great goal. So, yeah, my goal is to help you unlock your potential there. So you do make double your income with double the amount of information. And when you make double that income, all I ask, maybe you spend some of that money with my business once you do. And if you can comment yes in the chat if you're okay with that. Let's continue, my guys. So, all right, here are 3 levels of training. And I had to delete a lot of slides just because I want to do the best ones for you guys. So level 1, here we go. Top 3 basics. So if you have a physical book with you, please take that out. If you're driving, you're just going to have to listen. So we'll start with the basics, and then we'll enhance. Okay, so if you have a physical book with you, that'd be great. Call it. If you don't have a book with you, go ahead and just click that same link. And the first step, so go ahead and read how you normally read, and then I'm going to introduce these next 3 steps. So number 1, I want you to just guide your eyes with your hand or a pen from left to right. Super simple. What does this do? It keeps us in a rhythm. Science has shown skilled readers are always in a rhythm and they're not scatter focused. Okay, so try that for a bit. Left to right. If you're left-handed, use your left hand. From left to right, just like that. Second step, I want you to try to read groups of words. Most of us look at individual words, sounding out each individual word, which is very left-brained and slow, and it doesn't excite us, and it drains us. It actually drains us. So now I want you to just try to see if you can relax your vision and read groups of words. See if you can skip a word and do 2 at a time. Can you do 3 at a time? So try that for a bit. And 3, I want you to now try to minimize the voice in your head. So try not to move your lips. Try not to sound things out. Try to just, don't eliminate the voice in your head. Try to just minimize it. I'll show you how to do that more later, okay, with more advanced techniques. If it doesn't make sense now, it will later. So go ahead and try all those 3 at once, and then we'll move on. I saw Sebas. I saw your face. He's like, oh shit, something worked. Okay, there we go. Awesome. See, already getting results. So just like fitness, you'll see quick results, and then you'll see long-term results as well. Okay, just because like anything in life, you don't get easy, right? Anything good in life, you don't just get easy like that, right? But we will see quick wins. Perfect. Let's continue. So when we train, remember reading is like sports. Your current form might be good, but it could be better. So when you try a new and better way from me, you might initially have a drop in performance, but don't let that be like, oh, I'm wrong, I'm right. Stay with my old bad techniques. Just know that you should trust the process. It has worked with a lot of people because with consistency and a good plan, you will out-improve yourself. All right, next test. Here we go. Get ready. So you're going to see that wall of text, and I already pre-counted it, so I know this is at the speed Bill Gates reads. Billionaire Bill Gates. So here we go. Do your best as possible. 3, 2, 1. Begin. That's time. So that was a little bit around 600 words per minute, which is what Bill Gates is at. So next one. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, begin. Time. Remember, just like a workout, if it's difficult, that's a good thing. If it's easy, we got a problem. And the last one, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Time. Let's continue. So, I've read almost every speed reading book out there and 2,000 plus pages of research. Here are the 6 observed traits of skilled readers. And if you take this, you don't have to read all that shit. Just what we've got here, okay? So 1, skilled readers move their eyes rhythmically. Like I said, 2, 3. You were doing the jumps, you were doing the groups of words, you were minimizing your voice, you were using your hand. Perfect. Skilled readers capture more information with every glance. They're doing the same amount of work, but getting more information. That's like just working with a bigger shovel, bigger brain shovel, okay? 3, skilled readers activate their voice less. So they've even put like wires on people's muscles and notice this is taken out. And I'll give you an example. When you look at a stop sign, did you have to say stop out loud? When you look at your name on a wall, did you have to read your name out loud? Nuh-uh. That's because the neural pathways in your brain have seen those words so much. And if you have that level of neural pathway development, for 80% of the English vocabulary, what's going to happen? You're going to read faster, right? And then number 4, you can increase reading speed by expanding peripheral vision. Stephen Curry does this for sports. People do it for reading as well. 5, skilled readers avoid word-for-word reading. I'll show you grouping with more exercises right now. And then 6, skilled readers avoid rereading regression. Who here has ever read multiple pages and you just lose it all? Right? See? You know my struggles. You know my struggles. You guys know it. But that doesn't have to be the way. What if that was just out? What if that was just gone? Right? And it can be. So level 2, let's go. You know I love video games if I do levels, right? So grab your book once again. Colin, just use the same text if you don't have a book. So I want you to just read at your normal speed. Once again, read how you normally read when you're not trying to speed read, just how you read a book. And then I'll tell you your next steps. All right, so you're reading at your normal speed with the same techniques. You're reading your book. You're reading how you usually read, the old techniques. Now, I want you to read 2 times that speed and try to use your new techniques. Try to increase your speed as you read. Just try it. Try your new techniques now. Go double the speed you normally go. Perfect. Now try to go 3 times faster your normal speed. Try that out. All right, now go back to your normal 1 time slow speed. Go back to it. All right, time. So what many people notice, because we went from 1 to 2 to 3, and then 1, going from 3 to 1 feels really, really slow. Because I just pushed your baseline a little bit. Okay, and that's just a bit. If we continue to push that, your overall normal speed is higher, right? Same comprehension and better memory. So level 3. So this is what eye jumping looks like at the top for most people. You see how that's super slow? Boom, 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 boom. A lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of work. That's slow. It's just the sound of it. But if we're doing groups, we're connecting words together. Our brain prefers phrases because we could visualize them, kind of maybe even smell them, depending on your brain function. This, who can see how this might be, would take less energy? Not having to do all those little things. I take your silence as yes. Perfect. Let's continue. So get ready to jump your eyes left to right on the screen. Okay, you're gonna go left, right, left, right, left, right. You're gonna have 2 columns, and I need you to go as fast as you can. Ready? Here's another test. 3, 2, 1. Who wants me to try it again? Who wants to try it again? All right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. So you should feel your eyes going like that. And that's what you want to do with your reading. Super important. Okay. Does this make sense now? Now that I showed you this, what group reading? Perfect. Perfect. So here are the big 9 comprehension blockers. Like, who wants to boost comprehension? All of us. So feel free to screenshot or save this because it's a lot. Comprehension is one of the most complex things out there. And go ahead and put a number in the chat for which one you think is a comprehension blocker for you. Or feel free to ask me which one doesn't make sense to you and I can elaborate. Because we're going to spend a little time on this slide because it is important. There's a lot of information here. One through 9. Gabriel says 7, processing speed. Awesome. Awesome. A lot of ways we can improve that. Rado says 4, 6, and 7. Awesome. So let's look at, you had a great one. Number 6, left-brained. Right? So books talk about this. A lot of us men, so statistically, women read faster than men. And statistically, men are more left-brained. So we're very sequential, orderly, logical. But does that help our reading speed or reading comprehension? It does not. If you look at the picture on the right side of the brain, that's where reading comprehension happens. And on a separate photo, which I don't have on these slides, multi-parallel processing of information. So on the right side of your brain, that's where you process pictures, you process body language, which is a ton of information at once. And you could use that with your reading, which most people are not. Okay. CBOS also said thinking in words. Yep. We got to take that out. If we could visualize more. If reading a book was like a movie or your favorite Netflix show, do you guys think you might read more? If it gave you as much dopamine as scrolling, would you read more? Yes. And number 1 that I have right here is not asking questions, which we'll talk about more, but that does significantly boost comprehension. Any questions about this slide that you guys have? Burning questions about comprehension? Because again, this is one of the most important slides in this call. Nothing? Okay, we'll have Q&A later. So level 4 advanced, one of my favorite exercises. I haven't seen it in any speed reading book or course. And it's called the no reading exercise. And this will help you shut down your subvocalization to read faster and enjoy more. So I want you to take your book out one more time and slowly look at the words, but don't let your brain read them. Don't sing out loud in your head either. Move your eyes over the words, but don't let your brain read it. Treat the words like they're just symbols, right? And if your brain accidentally reads the words, don't fight it. Just go to the next group and try that for the next 30 seconds. Khalid, you could look at the text that I sent you. All right, pause right there. Any questions about this slide? Probably the second most important slide on this call. Did it work? Did it not work? Because I can help it work.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
I find myself that I'm trying to read fast, but I also, in the process of that, I don't want to lose comprehension. So when do I realize that it's like too far and finding that like 1x, 2x, 3x
Yeah.
for me?
Great question. So what I always give people is like a 42-day workout plan of like in 42 days we'll really, really know, but on one call, not too sure. But the thing that we can do is looking at a comprehension blocker right here, which is detail mindset, which is, I'll show you memory technique, which is too many people read a book worried that they're going to miss a detail that's going to make the whole book fall apart and go away. Just read a chapter at a good speed and then summarize it or think about it. What was most important? Write it down and then go back and search really slow if you want. Turns out you got the chapter, but most people don't even do that due diligence. Okay, so a lot of overthinkers, if you're an overthinker, totally fine. But a lot of overthinkers tend to be slower because it's like, I'm worried. I'm going to lose something, right? Like, how do you comprehend how a light bulb works? You just need it to turn on and off. You don't need to know the electricity. That's enough comprehension, isn't it? So we need to ask, what is the goal, right? That's the big thing. What is the goal that you have from this book? It doesn't need to be like school. There's no test. The test is application. That's true comprehension. Did you apply it? That's true comprehension. That's how I measure it because I work with people that are very results driven in terms of business. So that's my best answer for you, my friend. Did anyone have any feedback on this? What happened with this no reading exercise for you? So here's what people experience here. If you guys aren't willing to share, what I did here with this training, this no reading exercise, many people realize that when they do this, their brain will read the words anyway, even when you're not trying to. That's probably what you experienced. So it went from eyes to brain. You didn't do eyes to sound it out to then to your brain. So now I'm doing this for you to then do this naturally, right? Now I want you to try this exercise one more time, but let your brain read the words, but don't sound it out, right? Treat it the same way. So you're just going to slowly move over it. Just look at the words. You don't need to go fast. I'm just training your brain to deactivate your voice. So go ahead and try this for the next 30 seconds.
I fucking get anxious trying to stand up.
No worries. Yeah, once again, it's like your first time at a Pilates class. You're like, holy shit, come on. Perfect. That's time. Another thing, just because that's why the camera is important to me. Antonio, do you fall asleep when you read? Are you tired? Okay, yeah. So another thing that helps with reading is your posture. Okay, is your posture saying I'm awake, I'm engaged, or is your posture falling asleep? Right. So what does Tony Robbins say about posture? If you're like this posture is scientifically proven, or slouching, proven to lower testosterone, increase cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. If you're stand upright, legs spread, hands on your hips, what does that do? Lower cortisol, increase testosterone. So when you read, I always recommend just be observant of what your body's doing. Because it's not just eyes, the brain, mechanical logic. Reading is a whole body thing, and not many people know that, okay? So good work there. Let's talk about memory, and I'll break down how I remember what I read. And I use these 3 memory techniques. And here are 2 memory books if you really want to dive deep into it, but I'm trying to summarize that for you here. Okay. This whole training is built upon literally like hundreds of books just for you guys. So Marie, for basic overall memory, motion, association, repetition, imagination, and emotion. So what if you could learn something the first time and grasp and keep more than 80% of it, more than 50% of it? That's way more than most people. Most people are not using these memory techniques because they don't understand how memory actually works. You don't need tons of flashcards. You don't need to revisit it like you did in school. Just enough so you could put it into maybe your business or your own personal growth. So that's Marie. Next one, this one is for boosting reading comprehension. And I use this one specifically for books. So number 1, previewing what you read. What does a race car driver do when they drive? They look at the racetrack. How many of us just start on page 1 and then page 2, 3, 4, 5? What you should do, read a summary of the book, a couple of them. Maybe listen to the author on a podcast a little bit. Do I even like this person? Right? Looking at reviews. Did this book make anyone money? Or does this book suck? Can you emotionally sell yourself on the book? I never read a book unless I'm 10 out of 10 excited. If you're even 7 out of 10, there's too many books to read boring books. Okay. Too many books to read boring books. I might read a lot. I don't read boring books. Throw them in the trash. So 2 is question what you read. Writing out questions. What does this do? Activate your brain's filter, your laser, your focus, your reticular activating system. So what question do you have unanswered in your life right now that you can only answer if you read this book? And then turns out you can go ahead and skip to the best chapters. You can read it out of order, totally fine. This is great for memory, by the way. And then the last 2, S&T, summarize with the video, because many of you are trying to improve your communication. Talk in front of you. 2.5 years ago, I never thought I'd do webinars like this. I'd have been so freaking scared. Also, I wouldn't even be able to speak any words. And then T, test it in a book club. I'd recommend joining a book club. That's one of the best ways you could reinforce your knowledge is with other brains. Okay. And then last one, this is an advanced one, but I know you guys love that advanced stuff, which is the memory palace. And I've used this to memorize the 17 different levels of consciousness, right? And that helps me with my emotional intelligence. But think about, what is it for you? Is it a sales process that you want to improve, or a sales sequence? So then every time you're on a call with the customer, you know what's next. And the beauty about this tactic right here, the memory palace, your brain is already good at this. If you close your eyes, imagine your childhood home. Could you picture the front door? Could you picture how long it takes to get to the living room, the kitchen? And that is using all the senses, and that's using association, letter A. What already exists in your brain? That's what we're leveraging. Okay. And then right here, emotion. So even the history of memory. The priests and kings would remember entire books, but what would they use? They'd use things that are novel. Your brain loves novelty. So how do we use that? In your living room, maybe you'd picture your favorite hot model kind of, I don't know, very well dressed is what I'd say. And your brain is not going to forget that. Okay, so don't use boring stuff. And then the last thing I will share, not many people know this, not many people share this, is that creativity, if you increase your creativity, which is, remember, the right side of the brain, you increase your creativity, that inherently and indirectly increases your memory. Does anyone know why? Because now anytime you look at something, as soon as you learn it, you make 10 other connections. So your memory is like a web. So in this book right here that I showed down here, Moonwalking with Einstein, they mention as you learn more, you consume more with good memory techniques, your memory web, your knowledge web gets stronger, and then it gets easier to retain the information. And that's why they say knowledge compounds. At the start, it's hard. I will be very honest with you. The first 5 books you read, let's say marketing and sales or psychology or healthcare, they're going to be difficult. But you get past those top 5, you get past what high performance coaches call the dumb tax. And now it's smooth sailing. Okay. And here's a book I'd recommend personally. I have to say this. Focus is the building blocks of memory. How can you remember something if you're always multitasking, right? How can we remember something if our brain isn't being fed the information? Okay. So how does reading and speed reading play with memory? Because a lot of us say, okay, well, speed reading, that hurts my memory, doesn't help, right? Well, reading and speed reading pushes your working memory. Has anyone ever heard of working memory? It's fine if you haven't. Perfect, Sebas has. So working memory is essentially the whiteboard of your brain, the short-term plate that you have. So as you're listening to me, you're using your short-term memory right now. You're not using your long-term. That's where you're storing your childhood traumas, maybe where you leave your keys at night, all those things, okay, or your identity. Not many people know, though, is that your working memory, your whiteboard, can be bigger. It can be strained. It can be stronger. And reading enhances that every time now with these new techniques. You guys are going to be reading groups of words at higher speeds. That's going to increase your processing speed, your literal thinking speed, which is a real thing. You can have faster thinking speed. You can have faster comprehension. And reading strains that. So to get you excited about increasing your working memory, decision-making is now stronger. Because as you're talking to someone, maybe in a business deal, you can just hold more information as they talk. You can read body language better. You're just pulling more information at once. So I can't say everything I want to share about memory, so I'll keep it brief for now. Okay. And let's do this one of our last challenges before I test your reading speed one more time. And this is called the memory recall challenge. So for the next 2 minutes, I just want you to type any and every book, no looking at your bookshelf, that you can. So for the next 2 minutes, just type a book, press enter, type a book, press enter. So just get ready to type. Here we go. And this is a good exercise for you to do. Don't sit out of this one. All right, you're here for a workout. Ready and begin. Perfect. That is time. So one thing I have to share right now is that every time your brain blinked and misfired, that's a good thing. All right, that's like you straining to drop the weight. And if you do this, and you do improve it, understand memory, what would happen if you just, it was easy to remember people's names, easy to just share facts in an interview or a podcast? Would you look more like an expert or on the sales call? So important. Memory is often very, very overlooked. All right, let's do this final test. You will time yourself, though. I'm not doing the timer because I want an accurate depiction of your time. All right, so when you finish, I just need you to type done in the chat and then share your time, okay? And share what you get. All right, very important that you share your time, and then we have final Q&A, so go ahead. Remember, I need to hear done, type done in the chat when you finish. All right, just because we're short on time here. If you didn't finish, that's totally fine. We could test that separately. So here's the big thing that we'll cover before we wrap up. If you remembered 50% more names and knowledge, how much more money could you make? If you read 30 minutes a day for the next 6 months, how much would you read? I actually calculated this for you. So if you look at this graph, this is about 100 hours worth of reading each stack. So depending on your reading speed, you're in one of these stacks of books. So at the end of the day, you're in control of how much knowledge you want. What stack of books do you want to be in? Right? So I just want you to quickly visualize there's two versions of you. There's one that continues with the last 5 years of reading that you had. And did you do it again for the next 5 years? But then there's version 2 that decides to hit that reading goal that you're talking about. I don't know if it's a book a week or 2 books a week. That's you, right? So that version of you, how are your decision makings different? How are your business deals different? If you're in sales, are your close rates different? Right? That's the biggest thing I want to encourage you, because remember from Atomic Habits, every action you take is a vote for the person that you want to become. I'm just trying to help you make the right vote here. Okay, because here's the sad thing, because I do these calls a lot. 99% of people after this call don't take action. They stick with the same version of themselves. And my biggest recommendation is really start before you're ready. So many people have already done it. So many people have already done it. And then you reading faster, remembering more, really is a recession-proof skill set that I've seen. So the last thing before we go, because I've got another call here, the way I grew in business was because someone was generous to me, and I want to be generous to you, which is why I just want to gift the first 5 people that sign up 2 free coaching sessions. Right? So there's no downside for these calls. The worst thing to happen is you're going to learn something, and that's only for the first 5 people. Can only be so generous with my time, sadly. So let me share that here. And do we have any Q&A questions? Do we have any last things before I wrap up? And thank you so much for being here. We have no questions.
Thank you so
Khalid, do you have a
much.
question?
I'm good, actually. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Got a minute here.
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead. We'll do Sebas and then Rado.
Okay, so first one things I struggled with was as I was reading, I was moving my fingers so much that moving it so fast kind of distracted me a little bit from following the pace of the read.
Great question. So the biggest thing is that since it's new, it's taking up a lot of your working memory space right now. But once we move it to unconscious competence, which is like, do you really have to think about your breathing or the music in the background as you read? No. So with reps, it'll deload from your working memory, and you could just focus on comprehension, right? But right now, your working memory is like remember the whiteboard. It's part of it's like, oh, David's timing me. Oh, there's a new exercise. Oh, I'm on a training. Soon, those will be all off your plate, and you'll see an improvement. We'll come back to you on your next question if you have one. Rado, did you have one?
How do different genres impact the speed of reading?
Oh, they really do, especially in terms of vocabulary. And then, of course, motivation as well. So for people that are trying to just get good at test out the speed reading, I'd say stick with the genres that you know, and it could be fiction as well. Those are some of the best genres to practice, and then move on to other genres. Just know you're going to have like a drop in performance with new genres, new vocabulary, new mental models. And if it's something like the Bible, very, very difficult because we don't use that vocabulary when we talk, right? So old text, I really don't recommend trying these techniques. Other ones that use our working day vocabulary, yes. Gabriel, did you have something? And then
Yeah.
Rado, I'll make sure that you got answered. Go ahead.
For processing speed, does speed reading help achieve that or increase that? Or
Yes.
what will you, yeah, okay.
So reading is the push-up for the brain, and it is a whole brain workout, which is why the same reason why it's hard for you to read is why it's so good for you, and why it seems like whenever I meet someone who reads a lot, you meet someone who reads a lot, they just seem sharper and communicate faster or have such a good memory. Any other questions that I missed, Rado? I want to make sure I answered your question. Did I answer it?
More or less, yes, because then
Okay.
I recall, you must have heard when people say, "Oh, that was an easy read." Right? For example, The Alchemist, it's a very easy read. It's very smooth. It's like you read it literally in one take. But then you think of, let's say, Maps of Meaning by Jordan Peterson, just a freaking Bible of its own kind. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I trying to comprehend here? So, just like very two different styles, just
Yeah,
like for
yeah,
what
the
you're
quality
teaching.
of writing and how they write. So Jordan Peterson is very verbose and scientific, so that one he does make it difficult for people. And he's just that kind of guy. So I'm not surprised. We are not surprised. Any other questions? None?
Please, Sally, put something in the chat.
Oh, do we have a question there? Let's see. On the list of books for your recommended, your favorites. Yeah, just go to readingforresults.com. Go to my blog. I have my top 10 there. All right. Readingforresults.com with the number 4. Got it all there. And I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Keep it up, and we'll talk soon, all right? Have a great day, guys.